Gorillaz, baby.
Streets give you no love back. Streets teach you then change facts. Streets make you do strange things. Streets gave me this game. I can't complain, man. Mixx made a little change. I came to fame, blue flame, C-Town with no shame. I'm a veteran, turned into a better man. Celebrate a man, getting cheddar, man. Put it down for my town when y'all was my little man. 19th and yes, love, from the boys club to the Vista. Age 12 with my chest up. Am I sucking up game? Yes, sir. But this comes with a tax. If you town flaunt with them cats, keep it in, cog, and just stack black. I done hit the track with the biggest max. This hurried pace, put these lines on my face. 25 and I'm on the chase, can't let my working go to waste. Yeah!
Mobbing all day with my family, trying to get this money any kind
Welcome
of
back to
way.
another episode of Gorillaz in the Mix. I'm here today with a pioneer and a legend in the music industry, Sir Mixx-a-Lot. Thank you. Thank you for having us out today. We appreciate that in your studio. How have you been? Good?
Been good, man. Staying
busy?
staying active, man. That's my thing. It's better to be busy and paid than bored and broke.
Amen. Love that. So, from Grammy winner to platinum albums released, what is it in the music industry that inspires you? Where did, before that Baby Got Back, before I Got Game, before Swass, what was it that drove you and inspired you to do music in the first place?
Really, what it wasn't hip hop. I wanted to do music before hip hop was born. I got to hear a group called Kraftwerk in 1979. I was just a kid.
I was 9 years old.
And I'm watching these guys playing what weren't traditional instruments, right? You know, playing drums on boxes and little pads and stuff like that.
Okay.
Stuff that hadn't been seen yet. You know, they were doing drum machines before they were called drum machines. It was just something they were doing.
Right.
And that made me want to do music because I've always been a gadget freak.
Okay, so the gadgets is what got you kind
Yeah,
of...
technology has always been my thing. I mean, so, you know, the studio you're sitting in, I didn't pay somebody to come in here and wire it. I don't pay anybody to mix and master my record. I do it myself. Because the technology is why I got into music. So after seeing Kraftwerk, I knew that it was doable. So I was like, how am I gonna get the gear? So I ended up having to take little odd jobs, DJ at the boys club, and all kind of little stuff just to make money. Clean the freeway and pinball machines.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I was doing anything I could to make money to buy gear.
And that's kind of how it all started to flow for you. And then you got into the DJ and the
Yeah, I mean, even when I got into DJing, I didn't want to just DJ. I didn't want to just play records. Everybody
make
playing
music.
records. I wanted not necessarily, but I wanted to do something strange with it. So I was probably the first dude to show up at shows. You know, this is before laptops and all that stuff.
Sure.
I would show up at shows with synthesizers. And I'd have 2 turntables, but I'd have synthesizers, drum machines. So you might be in the middle of, like back then, Freakazoid was like the big track.
Right.
So I'd be playing Freakazoid, and in the middle of Freakazoid, I would start playing another version of it live. I'd just make up notes and play it live.
Right.
And people were still dancing. They didn't know what it was because remixing wasn't a thing yet.
Right.
And that was kind of that's where the Mixx-a-Lot tag came from. I would mix anything. It didn't matter what it was. I had no rules really.
Did you have any influences at that point or mentors that you looked at starting to come up in the game a little bit or work with what you're working with? What was it for you that
I didn't really have mentors because remember, rap was new.
Exactly.
So all the mentors were in New York.
Seattle didn't have much of a...
No, and Seattle had a hip hop scene, but cats were trying to figure out themselves. So really, the Emerald Street Boys were really the first legitimate rap group in Seattle. And whether they liked me or not is irrelevant. The bottom line is they were the first legitimate rap group, period. Before me, believe me, I was going to Emerald Street Boys shows like, damn, I got a long way to go. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I knew I couldn't be them, right? I had to do me. So my influences were not necessarily people from within the rap community. So I would listen to weird stuff like Devo and Gary Newman to get ideas for synthesized stuff. Then I'd listen to, I was a big Afrika Bambaataa and the Soul Sonic Force. That was my stuff. I mean, I could listen to Planet Rock. I used to play Planet Rock over and over and over and over again and go home on my cat tail and try to figure out. I would play it over and over and over. Then I went and bought my first 808.
We talked about 808 today.
Yeah, but actually I had, before the 808, let me show you how old I am. They had a little thing called a Dr. Rhythm, a DR55, not the 110. The DR55 didn't have cowbells and claps.
Everybody needs a little bit more cowbell.
Yeah, so that was the first one I got. And I started learning how to program it, but I couldn't get the sound right.
Right.
I was trying to figure out why, and then I heard 808, but the 808 was like $1,300.
Ooh.
So I had to do a whole lot more work, but I ended up getting one. It's sitting over there right now.
Right over there in the corner, right? That's the one, right?
Yeah, it's kind of broke up, but I never will sell it because that's when I knew I got that sound. It was that cool ass cowbell in Planet Rock that ding 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 ding. That's what gave it that rhythm. You know, so I kind of hear differently.
Mm-hmm.
Like some people hear songs and they'll hear Cat's verse and be like, wow, that verse is hot. Or wow, that track is hot. But everything I hear is broken into fragments. Mm-hmm. And those fragments come together to make a bigger piece. So I might hear a song and I'll hear, if people get into it, I try to figure out what made them get into it. So when I used to DJ, I'd play a track and I'd watch. And whatever made them react, I knew I had to implement that little something in my song. Not necessarily copy what I heard, but that's something. And it's usually, I learned this from Rick Rubin, it's usually something quiet, not loud.
Interesting.
When songs stay loud, they're disco, right?
Right.
But when you, like, you know, listen to Baby Got Back. A lot of the things I did in Baby Got Back, a lot of things I did in Posse on Broadway were stops, where the music completely stops. And if you ever come to one of my shows, that's where the crowd sings. It's just it's simple stuff if you just pay attention to the human algorithm.
So speaking of Rick Rubin, what was it like meeting him for the first time and getting to know him in that particular time period in your life?
If there was a Jesus Christ of music, it would have been Rick Rubin. I mean, really, real talk. I mean, he was, you know, from afar, we idolized Rick Rubin. Everybody here. The Def Jam was like, see, and for those of you who ain't old enough to really know about this, before artists became stars via social media, the label was the star. Right. We were just interchangeable parts.
We've heard that before from somebody in the music industry.
Yeah, we were just interchangeable parts. So Rick Rubin, everything on Def Jam, everything he touched was huge, and he's a music guy first. Mm-hmm. Not a money guy first, he's a music guy first. Right. Now he's about his money, don't get me wrong, but he's a music guy first. So what I learned from him really was, first of all, when he talks, shut up. I'm serious, because he won't say it twice.
Right.
He might just whisper something. You know, if you did this song. And you talked over it. What'd you say? Never mind.
Oh.
And that could have been it, right? So I just learned to listen to him, and he taught me so much about, like I said before, the power of silence, the dynamic
of learning and paying attention and being a part of it.
And it doesn't matter the genre, right? So you take what one genre that a lot of people hated was disco, right? Why did they hate it? Because it was repetitive. It didn't dip, right? But if you go fast forward, let's look at punk. Let's look at the Ramones back in the late 70s, early 80s. The Ramones had this thing where they build up this angst and stop and explode. Now go look at Nirvana. Right. They did the same thing. Korn did the same thing. I mean, you fast forward to now, what does EDM do?
Builds up.
Drop. That is energy. Right. And that is the thing that Rick Rubin taught me about music. Seriously, is that you have to move them around. You can't just flip an on switch and rap over it. I don't think.
The average black man and ask him black. She gotta pack much back. So fellas, has your girlfriend got your butt? Hell yeah. Shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it, shake that healthy butt. Baby got back.
You mentioned Baby Got Back. With the success that Baby Got Back has, do you think that what sets that song apart from all the other songs that you've done? What is it about that sets it apart?
Well, the irony is that Baby Got Back was one of the few songs that I created out of anger.
Really?
Yeah, I think when rappers rap out of anger, sometimes it kills their career.
Interesting.
Example, you do a hit song, your song goes #1. Other rappers will tell you, you're a sellout.
Wow.
So then you come back and you respond to that and you start saying, can I cuss? Can I cuss on this?
Oh yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay, yeah, you start saying, fuck them motherfuckers, and you rap at them.
Right.
Well, you got a whole sea of fans are going, the fuck happened, Mixx? I don't want to hear that shit. I wanted to hear what you were doing. So I've learned to ignore that noise, right? But Baby Got Back was a knee-jerk response to something that was the norm at that time. Every time you turned on television, I'm talking late 80s, other than Claire Huxtable, every black woman you saw was a maid, servant, prostitute, or she assimilated to another culture.
Right.
That's the only way they got on television.
That's right.
Right? So you had Nell Carter, nothing against Nell Carter,
Right.
but she played a maid.
That's right.
You had, Good Times. What did Mom play? A maid.
Right.
I mean, and so it was accepted. And I think that it was probably accepted because us, when I say us, I mean men,
Right.
we didn't talk about African American beauty
You're right.
like we should have. I mean, we talk about, oh, girl had an ass, and that bitch was gonna blah, blah, blah.
Right.
But we didn't really praise sisters.
Right.
So when I wrote Baby Got Back, initially, it was a slow song, slower, like Posse on Broadway, and I was yelling and stuff. I said, nah, that ain't gonna work. It's gotta be tongue in cheek. And I'll see if I can get the message through to who I want to get it through to, which was the masses, without offending anybody. Then by the time they get it, they're like, oh shit, that's what he meant the whole time.
Right.
And that was what that's what inspired Baby Got Back. And it just happened to hit. And Ruben heard it before I did. I didn't like the song that much.
No.
Nah, he's like, that's your track. That's it. That's your track. Talk to you later. Bye.
And to get that call, I mean, I can't imagine getting that phone call that your song had been nominated for a Grammy Award. What was the emotion for you at that point in your life when you got that phone call?
Well, I've always been the kind of artist, man, in spite of what people may say about me, usually the people that don't know me or people that are mad at me because I didn't give them enough money or whatever. But I've always been a kind of a grounded cat. I still take out my own garbage.
Right.
And all that. So I got nominated for a Grammy. I'm like, it was big, but I was like, okay. I mean, I got nominated for a Grammy, but I didn't realize the enormity of it until I won the Grammy. The next year I'm sitting at home watching the Grammys, and I was watching people go nuts. I was watching people cry. Like it was the pinnacle of their career, and I realized that is pretty big.
Yeah.
That's when it hit me.
Right.
Because if you watch me accept my Grammy, I mean, it was like me, E-Dog, Kid, and a few. We were just, we didn't even think about it. We didn't realize how big that was until you realize that many people, Jimi Hendrix never won a Grammy.
Wow.
Think about that for a minute. Yeah, not cool. But that's when I realized, man, this is not bullshit. This is
the real deal.
Yeah, the American Music Award, we got that one.
And the winner is Baby Got Back, Sir Mix-a-Lot.
First of all, I want to thank Dick Clark because he had hard enough to put rap in here in the first place because rap is legitimate and it's here to stay on the real. I want to thank Criss Cross, TLC, but more importantly, I want to thank artists like Run DMC, LL Cool J, who made all this possible, you know what I'm saying? They broke ground. I want to thank God for obvious reasons and all the booty people in America, yeah. I like big butts, baby.
The myth is when you win a Grammy, your career takes off. No, your career took off when you got the Grammy.
Right.
Your career don't take off because you won one. That's not the case.
They call me Mr. Lamborghini. See me, believe me, we be hitting them twisties. Y'all can't believe these crazy SVs, big wings, Verde, Ithaca, bright green, Ferrari, Scuderia. F1 quick click and see ya.
Young artists today, what could they learn from a pioneer like you who's paved the road all these years?
Dude, I hate doing this. See, because a lot of older rappers are the get off my lawn MCs. That's what I call them.
Right.
Always mad, right? Well, y'all ain't doing shit back in the day when we did. Shut up, man. They said the same thing when Baby Got Back came out. We did this back in the 80s and you're doing this. So what? Let it grow. And they say, well, some of this stuff is bullshit. Some of it was bullshit when we were out.
Right.
I mean, you always have bad music. That's what makes great music rise, right? You have to have a baseline, right? So it wouldn't be, I don't think there's anything I can tell any of these artists about the creative aspect of music. The only thing I can say, something I have noticed with new artists, is that a lot of new artists have been systematically taught to not value their own work.
Right.
What I mean by that, you have a generation of kids who have grown up getting music for free.
Right.
So when they see you, give example, I was at South by Southwest and I was down there for my tech company and this guy was drunk, but he was smart as hell. And we're sitting in line waiting for some food. He said, man, you know what's a dead model? I said, what's that? iTunes. Who wants to pay for music? I'm not paying for music.
Right.
He knew what he was looking at. So it's not like he looked and didn't know I did music. So I asked him, I said, what do you do? He said, well, I write code. I said, I prefer open source.
Blew him away.
All of a sudden, he's like, fuck that. I'm not working for free. Think about the irony. He told me your work is worthless, but I love it. But my work you may not love, but you're gonna pay me for it. You're getting it. So I would only say to new artists, value your work. I love Taylor Swift, in my opinion, what she did, regardless of whether or not you like her music. She wielded power at the peak of her career in a way that I've never seen. I don't give a shit what people say about what Michael Jackson, some dance he did, or some crazy performance somebody did at Central Park. I could care less.
Right.
What she did was wrote a letter to Apple and said, you know, and she started out so sweet. You know, you were at the forefront of many of our careers. You were the friend of the artist. You were Apple. You were the great company. And said, but for you to release our music and have our music streamed without us getting paid is just wrong. And I really feel sad that, and she did it so sweet. Apple turned around in 24 hours and changed it. I've never seen Apple do that.
Right.
Apple didn't do that for the fucking federal government.
Nope.
But they did it for Taylor Swift. That's the stuff that I and same thing with Adele. She wouldn't let any streaming service play her music before X amount of time. People say she's greedy. How is that greedy? You ain't going in Safeway getting milk for free.
I mean, is that how the music is? Is that how music is? As an artist, you have to worry about that now, about your music getting out there. Every time I see a new album that's going to come out or a new release, all of a sudden something got leaked.
Oh, let me give you an example. There was one artist, and I'm not going to say her name because I don't know if the numbers are right, but she was huge. She's still huge, but she was super huge. At her peak, she sold 3 million albums in 1 year. I sold 3 million albums in 1 year, and some people still didn't know who I was. Why? Because they probably stole another 10 million albums. That being said, what I do like about today's artists is they figured out new ways of monetizing their content. It ain't just about, I'm gonna make a record. You motherfuckers are still making records, standing on street corners, thinking you're gonna hand them out. Fuck that. That's dead. You know, I mean, the internet is far bigger than you standing outside of a van with your head on it. That's dead shit. I mean, you could do that back in the 80s, but now, to me, what these kids have done, there's one group out of the Bay, I can't remember the name, but their music is free, and they do shows, and you can come in the show for free.
Right.
Then they sell you merchandise. And they make more per show than they would have if they got paid to do the show. And they're paying for the venues, so they take every dollar. That's what I mean. I mean, Tech Nine is another one. I mean, Tech Nine is a money vacuum, but he never gets credit for it because he's not. Hopsin.
Right.
Hopsin is another one, man, that just does damage. And he does it by being the antithesis of typical rap.
Man, I hate rap, but if the shoe fits, wear it. I become a freak of nature, all the kids stare. Who walk around bumping raw with the shit blaring, saying fuck school and dropping out like a miscarriage. I'm embarrassed.
Right? He'll actually diss the whole industry.
Right.
But because there are many people that agree with him, he has a market. And I mean, every one of his videos, 25, 30 million views.
Right, that's huge.
That following is huge, and that following is power. And understanding how to monetize content in today's game is hard.
Is there any way, Mixx, that we can take music back to where it was at any point with new music and old music? Is there any way that will ever happen? Can it be done?
Why would you want to do it?
Okay.
I mean, it's evolution. It's what we're supposed to be doing. I mean, I've you know how many artists I've recorded? I'm recording one right now, and we're doing a vintage soul song.
Okay.
Her name is Tamika, and it's hard to do, and it's fun to do. But at the same time, I don't want her to try to be someone else.
Right.
You know, it's cool to give a nod to the past, but
moving forward is
keep going forward. Even if forward has a vintage sound to it. Example is Bruno Mars. You know, Bruno Mars does a lot of vintage sound, but he does it in a new way. So I don't necessarily think we have to go back. Like I said, that's a bunch of old, quote unquote, purist, fake motherfuckers talking about keeping it real. What is real? Real is what you are. Just be you.
Is there anything that you, as an artist, could contribute to any of the younger artists that are out there today? Is there anything that you would like to do? Is there anything that you have in motion, or as far as collaborating, or anything like that that you want with?
Not as far as collaborate. Everybody does that. Who's the feature? Who's the feature? Who's the feature? It's like, oh God, another feature. But for me, man, what I want to do, what I want to contribute to this game is technology.
There you go.
I've been in the technology forever,
where
and
it
nobody
started.
knows it. And most of the people in hip hop especially as you climb the ladder in a record company. They don't want me to do it. They think it's fucking stupid.
Really?
And then Dr. Dre becomes the first rap billionaire by touching technology, right? I build shit with my hands, man. I'm not one of these guys that you walk up to me and go, hey man, can you promote my new iPad? And I say, yeah, and that's how I got rich on technology. No, I'm building shit. And some of the things I want to do is contribute something as far as instrumentation. I mean, most of what we have now are just imitations. All right, you have a synthesizer that looks like a piano. You have a fake guitar that looks and sounds like a real guitar. But if you listen to EDM, you listen to trap, they're not stuck on that. They use a synthesizer the way it's intended.
Right.
But because it looks like a piano and because your knobs are not configurable, they're all over the place, the tactility is not on point.
Right.
So if you watch them doing music, you can see them looking for a knob and it's not natural.
It is an art form.
You're right, but tactility is everything, dude.
Right.
Like, I saw a friend of mine trying to mix music on an iPad one day. I'm like, you can't do it, man. But if you have tactility, if you have, example, one of the projects I'm working on, imagine you have a keyboard with X amount of knobs on it, and you're live. You're playing live. Because a lot of hip hop cats are doing live bands now, which I think is cool as fuck. If you have this shit and you have, like, say, oscillators 1, 2, 3, and 4 are separated like this, but your natural movement is here.
Right.
Just imagine you have in the middle of a project, you switch songs, you go to the next song, you can literally drag the commands, have a group of commands preset, and you go, and they're all right there while the show's still going. That's the kind of stuff I want to do is bring tactility to music. Imagine being able to control your light show from you.
Wow.
While you're doing vocals, you can tap your shoulder and something happen behind you. That is what I'm gonna bring to music, and fast. So it's gonna get copied, but I'm gonna do it fast. Or somebody will do it and fuck it, I said it first.
You heard it first, right here.
Yeah, I mean that's what I want to do.
Let me ask you. I've got a little bonus question that I always like to throw out there. What are the top 3 songs that you listen to? Of your all-time, and I know that's such a hard question to ask, but I know you've got 3 off the top of your head that you listen to probably the most.
See, you know what's funny with me is I listen to different types of music based on my mood. Right? So sometimes if I'm having a cerebral moment and I want to kind of just be deep, I'll play some weird, like lyrically deep shit. You know, like I get tired of basic lyrics, especially in R&B. Oh my God, how many times can you say I love you? I want to hit that. Back on my beat, baby, I want to hit that. I want to smack that. Granted, I'm one of the guys that did it, so I'm not, right. But like sometimes I'll listen to some lyrical depth. Like I'll play. I love like some of the Metallica shit, the old shit. It's pretty deep lyrically. Unforgiven is a deep ass song.
Right.
You listen to that. That track can be. I love when songs are ambiguous enough that they apply to everything almost.
Right.
And so I listen.
There's a connection somewhere in that song. Right.
Right. I mean, I listen to a lot of Gary Newman. I can listen to his acapellas because some of the stuff he could say, he could take one sentence and make it mean 25 things, and that's the art of writing is something that's lost. I'm not really talking about in hip hop. Hip hop cats, I mean, Kendrick Lamar can write his ass off. Right. Right. So I'm not really talking about hip hop. I'm talking about like people that sing. Don't get so lazy and say the same. Why would you do a song that the chorus 3 times? That's cool. And you got 3 verses, and then 2 of the verses is the exact same words from, one verse is the exact same words from the first verse. That's lazy.
But it sells a million copies though.
Well, some people, if that's what you go by, then cool. I mean, if your art, if the only thing that defines you is how much bank you make, that's cool.
Right.
And that's why when people, how come Mixx hasn't made another record? Because I'm not desperate.
Right.
And perception is that motherfucker must be working at Burger King, right? I mean, you gotta be hurting right now, But no, I mean, I love doing music, and my boy E-Dog like, man, put this shit out. I got songs, and he's right. I should have put this shit out, but I'm always.
How much did he pay you?
Sometimes, nah, man, nah. But I'm always kind of worried about. He did say something to me one day. I never will forget. E-Dog said, "Rap is date coded." Really, it's like spoiled meat. You reach a certain age. Okay, example. Here's the irony. Mick Jagger does another record. You know what we say? Mick's still doing his shit. I love it. Right. Herbie Hancock does another record. Herbie still got it. I love it. Right? I do another record, that old motherfucker's hard up for money. He's trying to be relevant. I mean, if I wanted to be relevant, you'd see me running through the hood with my doors up on a Lambo acting silly like that. But relevance has never been, that's not what motivates a real artist. What motivates a real artist is doing good tracks. That's it.
Mixx, thank you so much again for your time. We appreciate letting us come out here. Aaron said, first of all, A, I could drive the Lambo today. B,
somebody lied.
Have you ever let anybody put on the hat other than you?
I've had girls snatch it on stage, and I do want to knock the shit out of them. It's like those things, man. You can't buy them anymore.
Right.
First of all, you can't buy those kind of derbies with the thicker, the long, wider brim, and nowhere. Because now the hipsters wear the little small teapot shit, you know, with skinny jeans. And my fat ass ain't getting no skinny jeans.
No skinny jeans for you?
Some things, I believe in going forward, but some things, leave them in the back, baby. No skinny jeans for me, man.
Thank you so much.
Right on.
That's it. We're out of here. You heard it here. Thank you.
We had a couple of questions from some of our viewers that were posted on Facebook, and I was going to ask you one of them just because you just kind of touched on it. Dan Wolf is wondering, is there any chance that there will be another Mixx-a-Lot album?
Yeah, it's got to be. I mean, I got to do another record. It's like, I got the record. I got the material.
Okay.
I mean, I'm going to tell you, I have so much material that I sit here and listen to material. The songs have been completed so long ago, I got to throw the beats out because the beats are dated. Right? So it's like, shit, I'm being honest, man. I probably got 40 songs. So I think not only will there be another Mixx-a-Lot record, but I want to find a really creative way, and I'm taking input from people on Twitter, people on Facebook, people on Instagram. I will take some input. I want a creative way of releasing the record. And what I have on my mind right now is to videotape the process. Like, have cameras in my studio, have cameras in the vocal booth, and actually record a whole record on camera.
Wow.
And then when it's finished, when each song is finished, it will be released on my website. If you get there within the first 24 hours, you get it for nothing. That's the way I want to do it. Something weird. I just don't want to, money, buy my shit. I don't really need that right now. So I just give it away for the first 48 hours on my website. Because another thing that E-Dog and I talk about that really needs to be talked about, you artists, start owning your own space. And what I mean by that, YouTube is pimping the shit out of you. Because YouTube doesn't have to make content, because you do it. And you're getting 30, 40, 50 million views and making them money, and the amount of money you're getting from advertisements is like this. Yeah, they tell you they give you, 55%.
Yep.
How do you know? I mean, because I've received statements and I'm like, okay, this many people watch the ad all the way through, and this many, how do I know that?
Right.
I have no way of proving it. So it's almost like being on the old, I have nothing against Google. I've toured Google, I had a good time, I love the place. I'd do the same thing if I were them. But the bottom line is, start using YouTube like a giant advertisement for yourself. In other words, you may show a video and people love it, but tease a little bit. That's what they do in movie trailers, right? He's like, and if you want to see this, and then show something about happening, and cut that shit off and click right here. That's it. And it's not, you're not kicking, it's not like Google's gonna miss the dollar, but you need to own your own space, and advertisers will start to value websites as opposed to just YouTube. And advertisers can target their ads, meaning car guys love me, right? Because I'm a car nut. Right. So if you own Goodyear, you can do a blanket all over YouTube, or you can go, this guy attracts car guys. Look at the guys that follow him. You got 100 Ferrari guys. Let's advertise the Pirelli P0 right here.
Right.
And you can get it cheaper.
Because back in the day, it was about hitting the streets, getting your music out there, right? You handed what was it that you guys told me the one day? You guys handed out demos. And that's what you did. You beat the street down to get that music out there.
I used to sell tapes for $10 just to eat, right? Mixtapes. I used to mix. You take your name and put them in songs and make custom little songs and sell you the tape for $10. You had your own song. I used to do that shit all the time because, I was living in a Lakeshore Village. I was trying to eat. But what cracks me up is these old fuckers that still think kids should do that. The street is the internet, baby. Yeah. That's the new street. And you handle your business. I mean, I love it. I love, the experience with Nicki Minaj was humbling.
Right.
Because, I talked to her on the phone and I realized how old I was. And I'm like, so what we gonna do to work the record? She's like,
Boy, toy named Troy used to live in Detroit.
You know, she's, what the fuck is this old fat motherfucker talking about? And the day she released it, I realized what I was missing. Right. That's the power of those followers.
How that must have been a great experience too. When you heard that hit the radio. When
it wasn't even radio.
Wasn't even radio.
No, that's what I'm saying. She literally turned millions of her followers. They all had the same emoji. The same picture, the anaconda picture. Right. All of them, and they pushed it everywhere you went. They were pushing.
They hadn't even heard it yet.
No, they heard it and they went nuts with it. But that was an army. It circumvented the record label. It circumvented radio. She didn't need them. Yeah. That, to me, that is beautiful, man. And I'm proud. That's why I say, you know, some of you old cats, let out some of these youngsters because they can learn. They can teach you something if you pay attention. I learned something that day.
Man, you nasty next one, man. How can I help you this afternoon? Check this out. My name is Sir Mixx. I got a jam Posse on Broadway from LP Swats, man.
Sir Mixx, huh? I'm sorry, gentlemen. We don't play rap music here. We play real music. You have to take your record.
My posse's on Broadway. My posse's on Broadway.
Me and Kid Sensation at home away from home in the black Benz limo with a cellular phone. I'm calling up the